welcome to episode 554 of the Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast. I'm Sean.
And I'm Ian, and this is the only podcast that says...
This is much quieter.
Yeah, it is. It wasn't so bad.
It wasn't, no. It's obviously weird having background noise when you listen to a podcast like that.
Right.
But I want to thank Teresa and Brian of the King's Seat for allowing us to do that. And we're probably going to do it again next month at some point. I'll pick a date, let everybody know, post the address to like the Facebook page and stuff like that. So if you want to come, you're certainly more than welcome. That means arrive and spend time at the place, not what you're going to put in your email.
Right.
But if you are local to the area, and they are in Irwin, so there are some people, like I wouldn't blame Stork and Peacock if they didn't come, because that's a hell of a drive for them. But if you're able to come, that would be awesome, and we'll do that sometime next month. I'll figure that out.
Cool.
Now, how have you been?
Good.
Yeah.
I was up in Erie during the storm.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, I bet that was
The ride home was bad.
I'll bet.
I'm still tired.
I'll bet.
Yeah, the ride home was something else.
I know how that can be. Years ago, me and a group of friends, we took a weekend off and we drove up to Meadville.
Okay.
Okay. To which is very close to Erie. And, driving up north like that, we got into a snowstorm. Why we went in the middle of winter, I can't remember. I think the one guy said his family owned a cabin up there, and when we got there, it turned out to be like a shack. So we ended up having to try to find some place to stay, and it turned out there was some cheerleader convention or something going on. So we ended up staying at Doug's Motel.
Nice.
For those who know the area, you know Doug's.
Yeah.
It was the shadiest of shady places.
Right.
But it was we went up there to drink. It was the oddest thing. We just went up there to drink, get away from McKeesport and everything.
Yeah.
And just go someplace fresh and just get pounded. You
found yourself back in McKeesport?
Yeah, of course. No, in a couple days. We did stay in Meadville.
Okay.
That was. I got into a bar fight in Meadville.
Did you?
Yeah. I never told you that?
I never knew you got in a bar fight.
Yeah. So, we go to this bar. We found this bar. You actually had to drive down a, unpaved road. Like a Dukes of Hazzard style. We found the boar's nest.
Okay, nice.
In the middle of, the woods.
Yeah.
And there's four of us. It's me, my buddy Rick, Dale, who it was his car we were in, and Dale had I want to say it was a 74 Plymouth souped up big ass engine. It was a hot rod.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who the fourth guy was. It was we all worked together at Eden Park, and so we find this fucking backwoods bar. And Rick's hustling at pull. I'm hitting on the bartender. It was this total clusterfuck. And they find out we were Rick was hustling. Taking people's money, and they threw us the fuck out.
Okay.
Yeah, kid. Every fucking rule I could fucking break, I was breaking that night for some ungodly reason. I was who the fuck are these hicks? I don't know, they throw us the fuck out. And we're standing outside well, what the fuck are we going to do? Because it's 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
We're not done. And so some guy comes out. I can't even remember what the fuck he said. But we jumped him.
An idiot.
And it was one of those deals the parking lot was on a slope. And he was at the top he had the high ground.
Yeah.
And he went to throw a fucking Karate Kid kick like a fucking crane kick. And I just, like, he, like, completely whiffed, and I, like, got right into his rib cage with my shoulder and just took him straight to the ground like he was a fucking, sack of potatoes. It was like, and Dale is on, like, up by his face, and Dale's like punching the guy in the face, and then I hear Dale say, "Let go of my dick."
Okay.
I'm like, what? Like, you need to let the fuck go of my dick. And he starts wailing on him more. Well, now the bar clears out. Of course. People are coming to this dude's aid. We have to take off. We're getting Dale's car, like, and it's like a chase, like, out of the Dukes of Hazzard. Like, there are like 3 like pickup trucks behind us, and Dale in his car, we're like flying down this road till we finally hit pavement and took off. Like, it was like ridiculous. I think there may have been gunshots. I'm not quite sure, but it was just like this, like
gunshots.
Yeah, it was like this batshit crazy like fucking night, and I'm just like, the fuck are we doing? What the fuck am I doing?
That's crazy.
Yeah. So. And not nearly as bad as the Detroit fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I got my ass beat in Detroit.
I know.
But yeah, that's like one of the few bar fights I've actually been in.
If you had had that Detroit fight now, you'd have been dead.
Oh, God. Yeah. Like, I'm surprised I didn't die then. Like, I honestly, like, there was a moment where I thought, what? I said, I'm dying. Like, I'm dying in Detroit tonight. I'm making peace with my maker as we speak because, yeah.
Funny.
Guy fucking jumps out of his Jeep Van Damme style, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
It's funny.
Ugh. Anyway, I haven't had enough to watch of anything. I did watch Lift. It is the latest Kevin Hart opus.
I watched that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't bad. I like a good heist movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad heist movie.
Yeah, it kept moving.
Yeah. It moved quickly. It had Vincent D'Onofrio in it in a completely different style role than I'm accustomed to.
Yeah.
But overall, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I didn't think it was too bad either.
Yeah. Like, if you like heist movies, it's a good heist movie. And the best part is, like, sometimes Kevin Hart gets on my nerves because he's too Kevin Hart. Like,
yeah.
He's like, ah! Yeah. Sometimes in Jumanji, I'm like, dude, you need to dial it back a notch. But here, he was like suave, debonair Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Almost kind of like Eddie Murphy and Boomerang.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I watched that. And I watched a movie called The Kingdom 3. It's like a third part to this series.
Yeah.
Japanese.
Yeah, I saw.
Watched that.
One, yeah.
Which was good.
Yeah.
I watched Deadpool again. Well, this time I watched the first one.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that's it. I only get HBO up in Erie, so whatever's on HBO is any,
You're not carrying like a Roku stick or anything with you?
Nah, just because, like, by the time I get back, like, to the hotel, and if I eat, something, by the time I get back, I'm ready for sleep.
Yeah.
Because I got to get up at 5, so.
Yeah.
So I used to do that.
Yeah.
But I don't, it's just too much stuff to carry around.
Yeah. I get that.
You know what I mean? Like, it's too much.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I'm trying to think. I swear I watched something else, but I don't remember. Yeah, Heist was the latest one I watched, though.
Yeah.
It just wasn't too bad. So, and the Steelers.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'll be honest. Okay. You're a 7 seed. You're playing the 2 seed. My preseason prediction was I thought the Bills were going to win the Super Bowl this year. I thought it was going to be Buffalo and Philadelphia.
Okay.
Okay. The Eagles have clearly let me down. Like, that was like
That was horrible to watch it.
I mean, that was throughout the end of the last 7 games of the season, they just completely collapsed.
Yeah.
Like, it's like I haven't seen a collapse like that in a very long time. And I mean, there's too much talent on that team where you're like, how did this happen?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, holy hell. I mean, like, the offense didn't play well. The defense didn't play well. Like, you know, it was a big collapse.
Right.
On their part. Like, Miami kind of collapsed, too, coming down the stretch, but not nearly as bad as Philly. Like.
Yeah, I didn't expect that.
Yeah. And, so, but Buffalo, there was a point in the season, where they went to their bye week, and I think they were 6-6, and they got hot after that. Like, it's almost like they kind of rallied and we're better than this. That they fired their offensive coordinator. Changes were made, and they got on a run at the end of the season where it kind of reminded me of the Steelers for Super Bowl 40, that run. That's how hot they needed win every game, and they did.
Yeah.
But instead of being the 6 seed, they were the 2 seed.
Okay.
Because Miami kind of wilting at the end of the season.
Right.
So I really felt okay, well, I mean, we're going into Buffalo. I like their chances. If Josh Allen makes Josh Allen mistakes, the Steelers had a chance. Well, Josh Allen didn't do that.
Right.
He played a really good game.
Yeah.
So it was yeah, he's hot, and going down 21-0 to start the game, but then they got to within 7, and you thought, okay, yeah, we've got a chance, and then
Yeah.
things fell apart after that. I can't be angry. It's just it became that thing of they started off way too slow, and that was that was a Kenny problem. Well, was it a Kenny problem? Because I mean, but it was a problem all throughout the year. They would start off games really slow and have to fight to come back.
Right.
And in this game, they got to within 7, and they just didn't have enough to get over the hump against a very good football team.
Yeah, I thought they played well against the Bills at certain points. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that Josh Allen run just killed me. I'm
He reminds me.
And he did do a fake slide.
I didn't think it was a fake slide.
It wasn't as bad as Pickett's.
No, that's the thing. I took it more of if a running back did that exact same thing, nobody would have a problem with it.
Yeah.
But people have a problem because to me it was just he took a stutter step and then accelerated.
Yeah.
If a running back did that, everybody would be oh, what a he waited found where he wanted to go, and he accelerated. I mean, that's the same thing Josh Allen did. I didn't think it was a fake slide. I don't think he was trying to fake a slide.
Right.
He reminds me of a lighter version of Big Ben.
Yeah.
He's tough to bring down. There were a couple of times where you could see he kind of shrugged off a guy,
Yeah.
and then made a throw kind of Ben-esque, and then. But he's a little bit more athletic than Ben was.
Yeah.
And, and you get that big run like you had. Buffalo's got a guy for sure. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm rooting for Buffalo the rest of the way. Like I know Baltimore won today over the Texans, but you know, I'm kind of like I want Buffalo to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I like. As annoying as that fan base is at times, like I hate like I hate like the whole like Bills Mafia, like we're jumping off of on the flaming tables and all the shit that they do. Like that's goofiness. But the flip side of it is they do have an amazing fan base that is there year in and year out.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Sure.
And I mean, they had to endure 4 straight Super Bowl losses, which if you look back at that now, the fact that the Bills went to the Super Bowl 4 straight times is amazing.
Right.
But at the time, it was like they were the ultimate losers. Well, how can you be the ultimate loser when you're playing in the championship game?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
sure, you lost all 4 times. Worse and worse each time. You know, but at the same time, you were a dominant enough team to get there 4 straight years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in different ways. I mean, like in that time period, like they had the comeback against Houston that one year.
Yeah.
You know, like they did wasn't always the same way every time. You know, but they were a dominant team, and like so they're a team that like I kind of root for their fan base a little bit, and I root for them because the only way I'm not rooting for Buffalo is if it's Detroit.
Yeah, I want Detroit to win it all. I do.
I like that's the other team I'm kind of rooting for in these playoffs is Detroit. Like right now, like it's like they hadn't won a playoff game since 1991.
I know. I used to follow
Like
them.
I saw like a photo and it was like this is how long in Madden years it's been between playoff wins for the Lions.
Yeah.
And it was like, they were showing like the bottom one was like today's graphics. And the top one was like, remember in Madden, like when like the ambulance would come onto the field when you had an injured player?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, that was like what it was. And I was like looking at it like, dear God. Like, this is unbelievable. So it is like
They got a pretty well built team now.
They do. Like, Dan Campbell was laughed at. We're eating kneecaps and all the stuff that he said, but I mean, he's kind of Bill Cowher-esque, and like, man, I like. They're a gritty team. They do things like they're almost what you wish the Steelers were.
Yeah.
They're innovative, but they're still like gritty.
Yeah.
Is the best way I can put it. Like, I mean, they're a hardworking blue collar football team.
Right.
It's not all razzle dazzle, but at the same time, there is some razzle dazzle.
Yeah. I like watching them play.
Yeah, they're fun to watch on both offense and defense, and it's just that thing of like, yeah, I mean
they're for real.
Yeah. So yeah, like, I'm rooting for Detroit to win the NFC. Like, those are the two teams. Like, if Buffalo makes it all the way, and Detroit's there at the end. Like, I don't know who I'm rooting for in that game, but I will be riveted to my seat.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm surprised by how. I like listening to that coach too. He's like a worker, like a blue collar guy.
Yeah, Dan Campbell.
He swears. He don't
Yeah.
care.
Oh, I love Dan Campbell. Like I said, he's Bill Cowher-esque.
Yeah. I just like listening to him.
Yeah.
Post game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He swore halftime.
Hey man, come on! We're just trying to get the job done here. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it taken care of on offense and defense, and special teams.
He is cowerish.
Yeah. He got a big old chaw in.
Yeah.
A big old dip.
He's a huge man too.
Well, he played tight end. He played tight end for Detroit.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. So there's the Steelers.
It's going to be an interesting offseason, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, people were saying, "Oh, Tomlin." I was like, "That dude ain't going anywhere, dude."
No. But I mean, like, here's the thing, like, and this is the thing I've said all along, and I'm not even like, again, Kenny supporter, not a Kenny apologist. I'm not quite sure at this point if he's the quarterback of the future.
Okay.
But you need to bring in a guy who is going to be a high-end offensive coordinator. A guy that you're going to lose in 2 or 3 years to be a head coach.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to create that system now.
Yeah, because you have the players.
Yeah. I mean, they're there. Like, especially on offense. Like, you need to, a center needs to be addressed. Left tackle needs to be addressed. Or right tackle. You move Broderick Jones back to left tackle where he should be, and you draft a right tackle.
Yeah.
But you need to make moves on that offensive line to solidify that.
Yeah.
Because that, even when they played well, they still didn't play great.
Right.
And especially at the center position. How many times do we see either Kenny or Mason having to scoop a ball up off the ground
Right.
after the snap?
Yeah.
Like, there are problems at the center position. They need to be addressed.
Yeah.
Particularly. But I also feel like you need another tackle. But you've got the running back position solidified. You've got wide receivers galore. Maybe you look at another corner.
Yeah.
Because Peterson, unfortunately, he's not as good. Yeah, I think if he was to move to safety, I think would be fine with him.
Yeah.
Or if you could use him as a third corner.
Yeah.
But like, you can't have him as your second corner at this point. Like, he can't. He's not the number 2 guy anymore.
Yeah.
He's not the number 1 guy anymore. Like, that Porter took over that position rather quickly.
Yeah.
He was shadowing guys across.
He had
the
a
field.
good year.
Porter did have a good year. I mean, he's got some problems.
Yeah.
Particularly with his hands. He's a little handsy. But that was his MO coming out of college. Like, he's too handsy. And he needs to be a better tackler.
Yeah.
He
had a decent year.
But yeah, I mean, from a coverage standpoint, you can't knock it overall. But he does draw too many pass interference penalties.
Yeah.
Like, that's the biggest problem with him is, he's a grabby, touchy feely,
Right.
He needs to get better. But I feel like there are enough pieces in place where you feel like middle linebacker, you gotta do something with middle linebacker. I know there's a ton of injuries there, but like tight ends, the Steelers' biggest problem is tight ends. They can't cover a tight end to save their life.
Yeah.
Like, you look at like any of the games they really lost. Like, who had the biggest impact? Well, it was a tight end. A tight end in the middle of the field, making plays. Like, you got a 3rd and 8, and you got a tight end making a play 10 yards down the field. It never failed every time. So you've got to address that problem.
Right.
But I've heard a lot of people say, like, J.J. McCarthy from Michigan could be sitting there at like 20, at quarterback.
Yeah.
Do you take another quarterback in the first round at that position, or do you? Because I feel like Mason Rudolph is not going to sign for chump change. Like, he's a free agent.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like, is somebody going to take a chance and give Mason Rudolph like $20 million a year, or are you going to be able to bring him back for like $5 million?
Yeah.
And then maybe incentivize that.
Yeah.
But it's. I don't want Mason Rudolph back anyway. Like, and not because of like. I just don't think. I think he had a good run, but I think his overall body of work still showed me he's not a very good quarterback.
Right.
Like, I'm not saying again Kenny's the answer, because he hasn't improved the way I hoped he would. But at the same time, like, look at what he was surrounded with, like, from a coaching standpoint. But at the same time, like those people were like, "Oh, you got to sign Mason. Mason's the answer." I'm like, really?
No, he's not.
Like you have to look back at like his total body of work. Like people are like, I don't know why he was treated so poorly by Tomlin because he stunk.
Yeah, he wasn't any good.
He had a nice 3-4 game run here. Congratulations. But I mean, like overall, like I still don't think I wouldn't want him as our future quarterback, like at all.
He's got a good arm though.
But he's always had a good arm.
Yeah.
Like back then, like that year that Ben was injured and he got the start, like you would see him throw the ball down the field to like Washington.
Yeah.
Like him and Washington had that connection because they were both at Oklahoma State together.
Yeah.
And you'd see him go deep to Washington now and again. Mm-hmm. And so he has a hose. I mean, nobody's doubting that, but it's the other aspects of his game. Like I've always felt he sits in the pocket too long. He has no pocket presence in regards to he will stand there and not feel pressure and it'll get to him.
Yeah.
Like, I thought we saw that a little bit against Buffalo. I thought we saw it a little bit against Baltimore.
Right.
I thought we saw a little, like, but it wasn't enough that it hurt him. But, like, people are like, well, Kenny's problem is he gets out of the pocket too early. And I agree with that. Like, there's no doubt about it. Like, he does. He does that goofy little move to the left, and then he ends up getting sacked.
Right.
Like, but, like, to me, Rudolph holds the ball too long. I don't feel like he does a great job of reading. I feel like he is still a first read guy. Like he does look down the receiver more often than not.
Yeah. And
I just don't think his decision making is phenomenal. Right. He had a good run and he showed me things that I didn't think he could do. But at the same time, like every once in a while, you would see like those problems creep back in. Like he made that one throw, like I thought he was sacked, and like it just came out of like a mass of people to ball like to Pickens that one time, and I'm like, man, you got to get that ball out earlier. You know what I mean? Like, so.
I also didn't like that non-call on Pickens. I mean, he was wasting them.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just, and I'm not saying, I mean, they could have done a lot of things during that game. You know what I'm saying? That could have not happened and they would have been in a better position.
Right.
But on that drive, they had to have that drive.
Yeah.
And that was a blown call.
Right.
And I can see why he would be pissed off about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
But I feel like you got to bring in like I don't know if like bringing like a JJ McCarthy is the answer, but like I don't know who's going to be out there. Like the Steelers got lucky for a long time.
Yeah.
Like they would bring like a guy like Charlie Batch.
Yeah.
Who had starting experience. He was pretty good.
Yeah.
And even though for Ben he wasn't competition, like for Kenny he would have been. Then you had like Byron Leftwich. Again, a guy who had experience, who won playoff games. But now he's the Steelers' backup.
Yeah.
And then you had, for a year, you had Michael Vick.
Yeah.
And all those guys, like the best thing about them was, like you could insert them for 2, maybe 3 games, and they would get you wins.
Mm.
Like, so I feel like if you could find a guy like that, because again, like what was the thing I said not too long ago? When Ben came off the field, who did he talk to? He would talk to Charlie Batch first, or he would talk to Byron Leftwich first, whoever the backup was.
Right.
Those were the guys he seeked out because he, more than the offensive coordinator, more than the quarterback's coach, he appreciated their opinion more.
Right.
Because they've been in the trenches.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. So, I don't know. But I feel like the pieces of the puzzle are there almost. It's just that one piece is the most important piece. That's the quarterback.
Right.
Hopefully Kenny's the guy. But if not, do you draft a J.J. McCarthy? Or do you look at... I don't even know who would be a free agent at this point that you could go and bring in.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah.
I did watch... Hawkeye again.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good fucking series.
It is.
Man, is that good. I thought it was quite enjoyable.
It was.
Renner was really good in that.
He was. Yeah.
Man. So yeah, I watched that again.
Nice.
I don't know if I told you that.
No.
So yeah, watched Hawkeye again. Yeah, I have to say that might be one of the be the best of the series there for me.
Yeah. I mean,
I just thought it was really good. I like how it went into the. I like how it went into the not Shogun. You know what I'm talking about.
The Ronin.
The Ronin. I like how it delved into that aspect.
But it also, like, the ramifications of him being the Ronin.
Yes.
Like, it came back to haunt him.
Yeah.
You know.
And, Kingpin was amazing.
Yeah.
It's just everything about it was good. So, yeah, I really enjoyed watching that again.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, man, I like Renner. I do.
So do I, yeah.
Yeah, and I like the part that he was playing in this.
Yeah.
Like he was outside of the Avengers, and
yeah,
it starts off with the musical,
but it was personal.
Yeah, it was, and I don't know, it was cool. I thought he acted very well in the series.
Yeah,
so he's good in most anything he does, but I like how it showcased him.
Yeah,
and that was important to me. It was.
Also, any chance to see Linda Cardellini is a bonus for me. And the fact that at the end it turns out, yes, she was Mockingbird.
Yeah.
Made me smile.
Yeah, right. But, so yeah, that was good. I still haven't watched, I don't know, I didn't get too deep into Echo yet.
I finished Echo.
How was that?
It was good.
Yeah.
Again, D'Onofrio is Kingpin. Chef's kiss. I mean, he's so fucking good in that role. I didn't mind it. I thought the ending, when they got to the ending, it was a little bit rushed.
Yeah.
But I did appreciate, like, the use of, like, Native American mythology.
Yeah.
In the show and what that meant to her. And I it wasn't bad. Like, at the end of the day, I thought it was a good show. I'm just like, the way it left off, I'm kind of like, well, where does this go? Like, that's the only thing was like, but there is a major, like, okay, this is setting us up for Daredevil, because there was like a major stinger at the end of the last episode with Kingpin.
Okay.
And I was like, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's really good. I just wish they would just combine a little bit more of these characters in this universe.
Yeah.
Like, not in this universe, but in Hell's Kitchen. I mean, like, where they're at.
Yeah. No,
Spidey has to be brought in at some point.
Who?
Spidey.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, yeah. I mean, it is like, there's a lot of, like, oddball things that you're just kind of like...
They don't even talk about it.
But I mean, like... but at the same time...
How can't you talk about it?
Right. But at the same time, like, I mean, you did have a Daredevil appearance in episode 1. Which I was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and then there was a Daredevil appearance in Spider-Man as well.
Yeah.
That was somewhat of a connector.
Yeah. Yeah, Matt Murdock showing up.
Catching that rock.
Yeah.
Or whatever that was. That was badass, dude.
Yeah, I'm a very good lawyer.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait. Like, because, I mean, I love the character to begin with, but I mean, also, like, Charlie Cox is so fucking good in that role. And also, like, the violent, like, it's funny because it's like my biggest concern is like how are you going to do like a Daredevil show MCU style? Because the Netflix Daredevil series, I mean, not only was it violent,
yeah,
but they were dropping F-bombs left and right.
Yeah.
Like, there was a lot of fucks, you know, and it became like, well, how can you do it? Because like, that was like the great thing about that show was it didn't feel MCU but it, like, you felt it was part of the MCU because it would drop like mentions of like, you know, what happened with the Avengers and stuff like that.
Right.
And Echo gave me a clear, okay, you're not going to get the F-bombs, but you are going to get the violence.
Yeah.
Because Echo did the violence very well.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. Like, it wasn't toned down. And I appreciated that.
Right.
And so that makes me look forward to Daredevil a little bit more, because I feel like that was a key component of what Daredevil was he's a violent vigilante.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a big difference between like what Daredevil does and like what Punisher does compared to like what Spidey does.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Spidey's not violent.
Yeah. Spidey's not putting people through windows on the 3rd floor and watching them fall.
Nah.
No, you know.
He's webbing them up.
Yeah.
That's what he does, though.
But that's what he does.
That's who the character is.
But Daredevil doesn't have that code.
Nah.
You know.
There's always a chip on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get that. I'm just glad he's in it.
Well, I'm glad Charlie Cox is in it, and apparently they're bringing back
Jessica Jones.
Well, no, the guy who played Foggy.
Okay.
And the other girl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they're both coming back.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, that was announced that they're bringing them back.
Oh, that's cool.
So
good for them.
Because I mean, apparently they've completely. It was supposed to be 18 episodes. They're completely redoing it. Now they're saying it's going to be 12 episodes.
Okay.
Which I'm fine with. But I mean, you know, apparently whatever they were doing originally, like Kevin Feige was like, "This is stupid. No, we're not doing this." And so they've completely kind of like gone back and rewritten it. And now it's going to be 12 episodes, and I'm hoping for, you know, a good show.
I'm sure it'll be good.
Yeah. Fingers crossed, but still.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
So what you got, son?
I did not know this. This is news that eluded me until today. Tron 3 is now in production.
Oh, yeah?
They are filming. They are actually fucking filming this thing now.
Really?
Yes. Apparently, you know, Jared Leto, who, you know, I'm sure everyone out there is going to have a collective groan, but I like him. And the other guy, the guy who played Quicksilver, Evan Peters.
Evan Peters.
Yeah, he's going to be in it as well.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't know how it's going to connect to Legacy in the original Tron. But I'm all in for another Tron movie.
I know you are.
Yeah.
I know you're waiting for it.
I am. I was just like, I heard it and I'm like, because it was like it became that thing of like, it's like, well, this is in developmental hell.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when they announced, like, you know, hey, yeah, Jared Leto's going to be in this movie. I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. I'm excited. Tron 3, finally. And it was like, and you're waiting, and you're waiting, and you're waiting, and you're waiting. I'm like, this is never going to be fucking done. You know, and apparently I remember a couple months ago they announced that Evan Peters was going to be in it. I'm like, oh, okay. But they officially went into production today.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah. So I'm
it's
very.
Cool that Evan Peters is in it.
Yeah.
See what that's like.
He's a really good actor.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not saying he's not.
Like, I didn't watch the whole show, but I did watch snippets of like him as Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, I only from what I watched. Like I said, I didn't watch a ton of it. Yeah, but Nancy was watching it, so I'd catch bits and pieces, and I was like, "Damn, and what he's done, like American Horror Story."
Yeah.
Like, dude can act, you know.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
There's no release date for it yet, but
Tron.
So I would imagine you're probably looking at sometime in 2025, maybe Christmas 2025.
Maybe.
Yeah. But all right, so that's exciting news for Tron.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to remake the Black Hole?
I think it could be done. Like, I think it would be spectacular. But maybe you gotta do something about that ending.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, I don't know how you fix that ending. Like, I guess you could have, like, the crew of the Pegasus, they go through the black hole, they come out the other side and explore, but, like, I mean, that whole thing with, Maximilian and the captain in hell and, the Cygnus burning and the, like, I mean, that shit you can't do anymore. Like,
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you would definitely have to fix the ending, but I mean, they redid Lost in Space, and that was a great series.
That was. I've thought about rewatching that recently.
Yeah, I mean, that is an excellent series.
It is.
I mean, if you like science fiction,
yeah,
and you like Lost in Space,
right?
That was a really good movie.
Yeah,
I mean, show.
Yeah,
it's up there.
Yeah, like I feel like the black hole could be done, but like the ending is like so it's
just bizarre.
It is. It's so fucking bizarre. Like everything leading up to the ending is great.
Yeah.
Like the ending is great because it's so batshit crazy.
Yeah, and the story that was being told was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really good, and you felt moments of, horror, and you don't trust this guy, and the death of Anthony Perkins.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many good moments in it. I mean, you just, Bob coming out.
Yeah.
That sadness
that
ensued. And, and what's his name showing off fighting the...
Oh, yeah, the targeting.
Yeah, I thought that was cool, too.
Oh, yeah.
But it felt at points, which probably was the, when it was produced and, done like that and everything like that. It felt empty. It just felt kind of... I guess it was supposed to be empty because it was a skeleton crew anyway.
Right.
But it just felt like too empty.
Like, and there was also like the meteor storm.
Yeah.
Like when that, like, it all made sense to me. Like everything is like really, really well done, right up until the the
Maximilian.
End. Yeah, like
I thought Maximilian was just such a cool character.
That was one of the best designed robots.
Yeah.
Like, he was just menacing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so menacing. Like, it was like, wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Like, looking back, like, as a kid, I was like, because, I mean, like, before that, like, you had, like, C-3PO and R2-D2 and, the robot from Lost in Space and, even Robbie the robot from, the Forbidden Planet. Like, none of those were, like, really scary. Like, Maximilian was like, oh, shit. You are not to be trifled with.
No.
Especially
when the blades came out.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I was like, oh, God damn, that's badass.
Yeah.
Ripping through that book.
Yeah. Oh. But like the first time he shows up, you're like,
yeah,
oh.
Yeah, he commanded presence.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was wicked. Maximilian was a cool character.
Yeah.
Cool villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like one of the best, like, villains ever. As far as, like, pure intimidation.
Yeah, he wasn't a Death Star droid.
No. I mean, that's like, and then like, you know, Bob takes him on, and you're like, go Bob, go. You know,
Yeah.
like Bob was your boy.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, I mean that's a movie like I could see it being able to be redone, but man, I don't know what you do at the ending.
Yeah. I think that could be changed.
It has to be like it.
I didn't even like. You know, it's funny talking about Lost in Space. I didn't even. I know I'm gonna get shit for this, but I didn't even mind the movie that much. I was entertained during the actual movie. I mean, there was holes, and I get that, but it didn't bother me so much. It was still a science fiction story, and they told it, and I didn't mind it that much. Now, you know, the series on the other hand.
Yeah, I mean the movie's got problems, and like
I'll watch it if it's on.
I won't.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, no. Because I've done that. I have like gone back and like given it a retry. Like, yeah, maybe you're being too harsh on this. And I'm watching. I'm like, no, you're not harsh.
Well,
enough.
that's why I was skeptical on the series. You know, when it first came out, I was like, I don't know. But I started watching, and I was like, man, this is some good stuff.
Like my concern became like the biggest problem the movie had was it was trying too hard to create division within the family.
Yeah.
And it didn't do it well.
Okay.
And then you get to the series, and the series did do it well.
Yeah.
Like they weren't the happy Robinson family.
Right.
You know, there were problems in that family, but you also saw them kind of repair that family as the show went on.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it was like that was the thing with that, where like, you know, the movie, like it didn't have that.
Right.
Like, maybe if there had been sequels, maybe you do get that to that point. But, like, there was clearly strife within the family in the TV show, but that strife was so well handled and explained.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I just really loved that series.
Yeah.
I was very sad when it ended.
And the fucking robot.
Oh man.
Oh.
It was perfect. To me.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just
Oh, so fucking good.
and his first experience with the robot.
Yeah.
You know, his first, you know, in the tree and all that kind of shit. I was like, I mean, he just loved them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I bet, you know, not
Yeah.
then in the tree, but
Right.
he just loved that kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's cool as hell.
It was. It really was.
Yeah,
It was so good.
Yeah. So I suggest that to any sci-fi
Yeah.
people that haven't seen or are struggling to find something on TV to watch science fiction wise. I highly suggest Lost in Space.
Yeah, like I said, I've thought about going back and rewatching it.
Yeah.
And it's only 3 seasons.
Yeah, I mean it's really good.
And it's a three tight seasons.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like, and it's really well acted. I thought everybody was really good. Like, there's no weak link
Nah.
at all in that. And like, I don't know how you could like ever go back. Like, it's that thing. Like, how can you ever go back and try to do that again?
Right.
You know, I don't know. I don't think you can.
Yeah.
You know.
Have you seen the new Alien thing? Heard about it or anything?
What new Alien thing?
Isn't there a new Alien movie coming out?
Yeah, there is. It's like mid-year, so I gotta. Here, this will be interesting. Here's a. Let me find this. Give me just a moment here. Photo. No, not camera. Photos. All right. The most anticipated movies of 2024. So I'm gonna go. We'll run down through these. There's not that many. and get your opinion on each.
Okay.
And mine.
All right.
So February 14th, Madam Web.
I'm looking forward to this.
I am not.
Yeah. I think it looks good.
I'll wait to see it.
I did watch Carnage again, too. But I am looking forward to it.
Okay. Yeah. I'll watch it on Netflix.
Yeah, okay.
March 1st, Dune Part 2.
Oh, I know you're
I am all in.
super pumped. I've seen the trailers and everything for it. It looks really good.
Yeah.
But I'm not dogging it at all. Mm-hmm. But I think you got to be a Dune fan to really appreciate it. I do. And I'm not a huge Dune fan. I like it, but I'm not like...
Here's the problem with...
slobbering over this movie.
Right. Here's the problem with Dune. Dune has the exact same problem the last Harry Potter movie has.
Okay.
The first part is boring because it's set up.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. Like, I watch that because, like, I slop that stuff up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that, so... Even as but even as a Dune fan, I have to admit the first half of it is boring because it's
putting the pieces in place.
Right. The second half is going to be all action and battle and people riding sandworms and Paul becoming Paul Muad'Dib instead of Paul Atreides and all that shit's about to take place. Like this is going to get batshit crazy in a fucking hurry.
Yeah.
And I am all in for that.
Yeah.
It's going to be much more action than the first movie because the first movie's not the action aspect. The first movie is set up for the action that's to come.
Right.
Right. So, but yeah, I mean, Dune, I'll be there that'll be an opening night. I'll take a day off to go see Dune on opening night.
Okay. Gotcha.
And then March 22nd, Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
Oh, yeah. At the end, that's a movie I will...
I hope it's good.
I have high hopes for it. Okay. Only because of the stuff I'm hearing.
Was Reichman doing it?
I think so, yeah.
I hope so.
But also, when I hear them talk about, we went back and we want to get the feeling from, the cartoon from the 80s.
Yeah.
That, so many people love and had a... Again, if you go back and you watch that, there are some very good stories that were told.
Yeah.
And that's what excites me. It's okay, wow, you instead of just going back, even though the last one, Afterlife, rehashed some of what from the first Ghostbusters movie, it kind of had to.
Yeah.
But it did so in a way that it told a better story.
Right.
This is now instead of because my biggest concern was okay, they're gonna go back to the the painting and don't do a rehash of Ghostbusters 2. And this has me excited because this is going down a different hole altogether that now it becomes more of its own.
Yeah, that anyway, we won't get into Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah. Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. That comes out on April the 12th.
I'll be seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't give a shit. Sure, there was Godzilla -1, and that was the heavy-handed, Oscar-worthy movie. This is just batshit crazy kaiju violence for it's like a Transformers movie. You're not watching it for the human aspect.
No, not at all.
I'm here strictly for, kaiju on kaiju violence.
Yeah.
Yeah. April 26th, Civil War. It's a movie. Apparently it's a Civil War taking place in the United States.
Oh, yeah. I saw the previews for that. It looks okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I'm not going to see it at the theater.
I don't think I'm going to see it in the theater either, but it does look very interesting.
Yeah.
May 24th, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, can't wait.
Yeah, I am there.
Yeah, I know.
I am there.
Yeah, for sure.
And on that same date...
And that's another series that people should watch.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Go back and watch those Planet of the Apes movies, like the ones from the past 15 years,
because they are good.
They are. All three.
Every single one of
every
those
single
movies
one of them.
is good.
Yeah.
And it's not your, dad and grandpa's Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Dr. Zetas. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying... But what I'm saying is, like, it is not those movies.
No, not at all.
These movies are absolutely phenomenal. And there's good storylines, and there's death, and there's just... It's really good. I give it such high marks that it's probably... to me, it still holds up to be the best trilogy ever made. One of the best trilogies ever made.
Yeah. No, I agree. I have
good.
I have high hopes for this as well.
And I've never seen a series just get... I mean... What I'm saying is it just got better and better and better.
Yeah.
You know? It wasn't like...
Like, that first movie's so good. And you thought, well, wow, how do you top that?
Yeah, they're not going to top this.
And the second movie does.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, man. And the third movie's just as good as the first two.
Yeah, it's just such a good series.
Yeah.
So I highly suggest people watch the series before going in to see Planet of the Apes, the newest one.
Yeah. Also on that same date, Furiosa, a Mad Max story, which I'm all in on. Like, that'll be like a weekend. Like that may be a day. Like, I have to go early and catch one movie and then catch the other.
Right.
Because I do want to see them both. I want to see them both in a theater.
Right. Oh, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
June 14th, Bad Boys 4. You're not a fan. I like the franchise.
I'm not saying I'm not a fan. I'll wait to see it.
Yeah, so will I. That'll definitely be I gotta wait to see that. And then on June 28th, A Quiet Place, Day 1.
Okay.
I'll probably wait to see that as well.
Okay.
And that takes us into July. Twisters comes out June 19th, the sequel to Twister.
No interest.
Yeah, that'll be an HBO one.
Yeah.
That'll show up on HBO Max a couple weeks later. And then June 26th, the highly anticipated Deadpool 3.
I cannot wait.
No, very interested in that.
I might see that opening night.
And then in August, we get into some movies I'm not familiar with. August 2nd is Trap.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with that. August 9th is Borderlands, which I thought was the Borderlands TV show, which is on Amazon, I think. But this is apparently a movie called Borderlands, so I could be wrong.
Wasn't Borderlands a game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it has me a little confused there.
Yeah. All right.
August 16th, Alien Romulus.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah.
Romulus.
Yeah. So I'm very interested in that because I love the Aliens movies. Like, I actually enjoyed Prometheus and Prometheus 2.
Yeah.
I'm one of the few that did.
I didn't mind it. Just certain parts of it I didn't like. I think people wanted something more from those movies than what they gave.
Yeah.
And I think that was the deadfall of those movies.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Like, I think they were expecting Aliens 2 or Aliens 3 or... You know what I mean?
Right.
That wasn't the movie.
No, not at all.
Ridley
Scott was giving you something completely different.
Correct. But it was very dark, and it was a well-written story.
Yeah.
And shot beautifully.
Yeah.
But it just was not those movies.
No, not at all.
So.
August 30th, Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah, I'll be seeing that.
I will be waiting to see that on some streaming service.
I like Kraven.
I do too, but again, the problem is it's a Sony movie. I have no faith in anything Sony does.
I know you don't, but I mean, thinking about it, I like the movies that you don't like. I do like. Like, I liked Morbius.
I didn't think Morbius was bad, but I didn't think it was good either.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was top tier level, but did it entertain me? Yes, I liked the whole aspect. I liked Leto in it too. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought that Morbius was a decent film for a Sony movie, and you could tell that it was a Sony movie.
Right. I mean, Venom, I didn't think was a bad movie. I thought the battle at the end was horrific because I couldn't tell who was who.
Yeah.
I thought, the Venom Carnage movie was better.
Oh, Carnage was good.
Like, I enjoyed that a whole lot more than I did the first Venom movie.
That was a good ending.
Yeah.
And there was more Venom in it, which I liked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Especially when he's telling his soul to a fucking rave.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
And, like, the fact that he does both voices.
Yeah.
I'm not both voices, but he plays Venom
Yeah.
as well, which is even better.
Right.
So that bantering between the two of them, I really liked.
Right.
And how he fed him, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
But,
Like it made sense.
Yeah, but like Madam Web, I mean, I'm sorry, I know you're into it, but like, man, I looked at that and I'm just like, this just looks like fucking bad cosplay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it honestly did. And Craven, I mean, we got the one trailer for it, and I was not like, oh, this looks amazing. I was like, you know.
What about when Carnage went? Oh, at the end, the ending was so good, and at the end, Carnage bit the head off the priest, I think, and he goes 1-up,
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, that's sick.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I think the smartest thing they did was that movie was. I think the smartest thing they did was that movie was like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
That movie was a fast-paced hour and a half.
Yeah. Harrelson was great in it too.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a good movie.
Like, I out of all the stuff Sony's done, that's probably the best that they've done.
Okay.
Okay? So. And then on September 8th, we have Beetlejuice 2.
Looking forward to it.
I'm intrigued by it.
Dude, it's Michael Keaton, so
It's Michael Keaton. I know what they're bringing back. What's her name?
Lydia.
Yeah.
Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder. And Jenna Ortega's in it as well.
Is that her daughter?
I don't know. But I know she's in it.
Okay.
So. And then October 4th, Joker Folie à Deux. It's a sequel to the Joker movie that had, what's his name in it?
Joaquin
Phoenix. But it's a musical.
And I'm done.
And it's got Lady Gaga as
And
Harley
I like
Quinn.
musical. Yeah, I'm done. Because I'm not a huge fan of Lady Gaga. And, I mean, I like some songs, don't get me wrong. But, yeah. I mean, I like musicals.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I love musicals. But I just don't see how that fits into the DC world.
Well, I mean, it doesn't. It's its own thing
I don't
altogether.
care what they say it is.
Yeah.
It's a DC product.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's an other world. Has
Yeah.
no connection to what James Gunn will be doing.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, November 8th, Venom 3. So obviously you're looking forward to that.
Of course.
Of course, yeah.
I'm looking forward to Venom being in the Marvel Universe.
But he's not.
Or the Spidey Universe. He's going after Spider-Man. My heart has to be there.
I
have to see Venom and Spidey on screen. A real Venom and Spidey on screen.
they're never going to do it.
Well, they've already teased it.
And the problem is, like, Marvel and Sony are... Like, the only way that happens is if you take Spidey out of the MCU and give it back to Sony.
Yeah.
And Marvel doesn't want to do that.
Yeah, I know.
And, I mean, like, this is, like, Sony's trying to take all these other characters and create their own universe with it.
I know.
So, I mean, this is a huge year for Sony. This is 3 movies they've got coming out in 1 year for their Spideyverse.
Yeah.
Like, if these tank, they're done.
Venom's not going to tank.
Venom's the only one that probably isn't going to tank because at least, like, the people appreciate like Venom. Like that's like they're only like close to what you'd call a home run.
Yeah.
On November 22nd, Gladiator 2.
I don't even know how I feel about that.
Well, it's directed by Ridley Scott.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, obviously, it's going to be taking place in that same universe, I would imagine. But obviously, none of the characters are returning. So, like, I don't know what you're doing with it. But, I mean, I'm intrigued by it. I'm intrigued enough because it's Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
Like, in Ridley Scott, I trust. Like, I'll watch damn near anything he does.
All right.
So, you know, how it's going to look. I know it's going to look phenomenal, but, you know, is it going to be worth watching?
Right.
You know. And lastly, on December 20th, Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Not interested.
I won't go out to the theater and see it, but when they play it on Paramount Plus, I'll tune in.
Okay.
I watched the first two. I liked the first two.
Did you?
Yeah. Like, I'm not a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan.
I was. I played it.
I didn't play. I was never big on side scrollers, so I never played. But like, it's like one of those games or one of those movie franchises. Like, I gave it a chance. Like, just out of pure boredom, I watched the first movie,
Okay.
and it was like, let me give it a shot. You know, because like, there was that whole controversy about like how Sonic looked. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
In the first trailer, he looked horrible, and they actually like went back and redesigned Sonic so he looked like Sonic.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, if they're willing to do that, I wonder how good the movie actually is. And the movie's actually pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And then the second one came out, and I really enjoyed the second one.
Did I tell you I watched Mario Brothers?
The cartoon?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, you didn't.
It was great.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Again, I have no real interest in that franchise, but I enjoyed the shit out of that movie.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
It was extraordinarily well done.
It helped that Seth Rogen was in it. But
Yeah.
he was great as Donkey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought he was the perfect Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool that they even brought Donkey Kong into it.
Right.
When I was like, where are they going? Oh, shit, that's Donkey Kong. I was like,
Yeah.
that's badass. That's a good move. You know what I mean? Because if anybody doesn't know the video games.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's the original. Plus, also, you have Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah. You have, like, it's connected.
Yeah.
You know? So I thought that was a really cool move. You know?
Yeah.
It wasn't just Mario Brothers, like, it had to be the first one, was Mario Brothers. When they were in the sewers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then turtles and then
Yeah.
butterflies and
Yeah.
all that shit. Crabs.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was cool.
Yeah.
The fact that but a lot of people don't realize that, you know, when they made Donkey Kong, that was Mario.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't understand what I'm saying?
Mario
Like,
was the hero of Donkey Kong. Then they made Mario Brothers, which was like an odd game. It never really took off.
but it's a great game.
And then there was Super Mario Brothers.
It's sort
which
of
came
on
out,
that joust level.
Right. And they came out with Super Mario Brothers, which was what everybody played on the NES.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, from there, the franchise takes off.
Right.
But that also like led to like Donkey Kong Country,
Yeah.
which was like a solo Donkey Kong game.
Yeah.
Where you're playing as Donkey Kong or
Was that on 64?
no, that was on maybe it was I think it was Super NES. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a Nintendo fanboy, so I don't like know that history.
Yeah.
But I know generally enough. Like, I mean, that led to that, and then you have like the way they incorporated like the Mario Karts.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. I loved how they were picking their carts out.
Yeah,
I thought that was badass.
yeah. I mean, there was
Like, how cool is that?
there were little things like that like really made sense if you. I know a little bit about the games, but
Yeah.
not a ton. But it was enough. Where I was, and then you throw in Jack Black as Bowser.
Yeah.
I mean, He was so fucking good.
Yeah, it was good, man.
It was a really good movie.
And the Easter egg with Yoshi at the end, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
that was sold.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like a great surprise.
Yeah.
For me, because I like Yoshi.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
It was really well done.
Yeah.
It was like, I mean, other people talked about like how good it was, and I thought like, well, how much can I really enjoy this? And it turned out I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was pretty decent.
Yeah, it was really well done.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm haunted by the, John Leguizamo.
Yeah.
Like that movie was so fucking bad.
Yeah, it was.
And even like the Captain Lou Albano Super Mario Brothers TV show.
Give me a break. That goes back.
That goes back a ways.
It's funny though. Life is so much simpler than like the movies that were coming out. Spielberg's Prime. That was just we had so many fucking good movies. Just one after the other after the other. Just when there was a little bit of a break, here comes another Indiana Jones. Just when there's a little break, here comes Goonies.
Yeah.
Just when there's a little break, you know what I mean? Like Gremlins, Back to the Future. I mean, there were so many good films coming out with these legendary directors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just so good. I don't feel like... I don't think we've been in that space for years.
Well, okay. Do you think that's because there's too much content? Like, think about it. Like, we're in a space now where not only do you have broadcast television and the, 120 channels of content that they have to produce.
Right.
But you now have streaming services. So Netflix has to have so much coming out. Amazon has to have so much coming out. Hulu has to have so much. Disney Plus has to have so much. There's so much.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Like, as compared to back then where you had, 3 fucking channels on your TV. And then, the movie theaters only had so much space.
Right.
Like, unlike, if you went to a multiplex, it was like eight theaters.
Right.
Now, it's 20 some odd theaters.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a massive difference in how very rarely do you see a movie have a massive run.
Right.
Like, the last movie that had like a massive run like that was like Titanic.
Godzilla. -1 had a good run.
-1 has had that was supposed to be in theaters for 1 week.
Yeah.
And they keep extending it.
Yeah.
And they're saying, November or February 1st, it's done.
Yeah.
And I think this week they brought over the Godzilla -1 color.
Right.
Which is a black and white version of Godzilla. And I read a thing with the director where he talked about, like, we didn't just go back and just erase the color. Like, we didn't, just Photoshop the color out. Like, we went back and we actually manipulated each, cell in a way so that it gave a true black and white feel, like, with the shading and everything else. Like,
crazy.
They took great care in doing this. And, the fact that that's made $100 million...
I know.
And I hate to be like a guy because I love Godzilla movies, no matter what. But this movie was just that fucking good.
Yeah.
You rolled your eyes when I reviewed it and I said this was an Oscar-worthy movie.
I know. I was like, get the fuck out of here.
You did, and then you saw it and you're agreeing with me now.
Yeah. The only problem I had is the lazy eye.
Yeah.
Out of the entire film, I thought it was Oscar-worthy.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with you. I just didn't like the lazy eye when he was swimming. It's the only thing. I even respected the swimming. The way it looked.
Yeah.
It took me back to when I was 9. No, really.
Right.
I completely got it. But the lazy eye just killed me.
Yeah.
I just could not. I couldn't get past it. But I mean, I did. But like, it's just such a good movie.
I think if he had blinked, I think that was the big problem with that. Like, there was no blinking. Like, that eye was like wide open, coming at you the entire time.
Yeah.
Like, if he had blinked, I would have been like, okay, I'm but
Yeah, and there's like what I liked about this movie too is there was like no mustard and ketchup involved with this movie.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Because a lot of those old fucking movies, especially the dinosaur movies and shit like that, you know what I'm talking about.
yeah,
I mean, it's just like they had fucking, old school diner squirt bottles with mustard and ketchup in there. Okay, hit him. All right, next scene. Hit him.
yeah.
There's none of that bullshit. But the movie's just a good movie. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's Oscar worthy. To me, it is.
Right.
I mean, it's not because of Godzilla. It's because of that storyline.
Right. The story that it tells.
Correct. And
It's
it
just-
follows these. I watch a lot of Japanese
Yeah.
films and series,
Right.
and it fits right into that.
Right.
It's that same. It's a very similar recipe. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah.
It's a very similar recipe to what they're doing.
Right.
And they just hit it out of the park with this one. It's really good.
And it's that thing of like Godzilla's the main event. Like that's what you're there to see.
Yeah.
But there's so much more to it than Godzilla. There's a great human story that's being told, which normally for the Godzilla movie I can give two shits about.
Right.
Like 99% of the time I'm like, just give me more Godzilla.
But it's a very interesting human story.
It is. It's a very interesting human story.
Like the fact that they, it's a kamikaze pilot that couldn't do it.
Right.
That is very interesting to me.
Right.
I've never heard of that, any kind of story or anything like that.
Right.
Coming down
Yeah.
that way. It's,
Yeah.
it's a very cool perspective on the war,
Yeah.
number one. And number two is the decision not to go through with it.
Yeah.
And that's really powerful.
Yeah.
I think it is. It's just a really good storyline.
Yeah.
And to follow that storyline through, it's even better.
Right.
As you watch Godzilla
Right.
-1.
Yeah.
So, hats off to those people.
Yeah. They made a phenomenal movie.
Yeah. Agreed. Anyway.
But like for the most part though, like you don't see movies get runs like Titanic had. Where like it seemed like for
God.
6 months that thing was like the number one movie at the box
The
office.
fucking thing made so much money.
It did. Like so it's like it's stuff like that you like Star Wars like the original Star Wars was in movie theaters for over a year.
Yeah.
Like it's stuff like that.
Wayne's World was one of those too.
Yeah.
Wayne's World made so much fucking money. I've known the man.
Right. I mean, that was a movie that was made for like $5 million.
Yeah, and people just kept going to the theaters.
Yeah.
I saw it 4 times. I
It
can
was just
remember.
fun.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. But like nowadays, like there's so much content that it's like you get a 3-4 week run at the theater and you're out.
Yeah.
Because we got something else that's got to come in.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like there is like, and also like there's so much like, we want this to be an IMAX. Well, most theaters only have one IMAX theater.
Right.
So it's like, okay, so we've got to, we're going to show Barbie in IMAX at 2:00 and at 6:00. We're going to show Oppenheimer, at 4 and 9. It's like you have to like juggle these schedules.
Right.
Because this is the way like these movies are being made, and like so you need to like movie theaters need to upgrade, and that's hard to do.
Right.
And it's expensive to do as well, and like especially with movie theaters, like apparently like they're still trying to come back.
Right.
But it there is just like so much content that like I think it is hard to get that feeling of like, oh, here's this, and then you have that lull, and then here's the next big thing.
Right.
Because the next big thing seems to be happening every single week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. I guess with all the streaming content and the quantity that's out there, I think we've lost some of that movie magic, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and also, too, by the word of mouth spread.
Yeah. Like Godzilla Minus One is a prime example of that word of mouth spread.
Right.
That has been, people have gone to see it and told people, you need to go see this fucking movie.
Yeah.
You know, but that's a rarity. It's a real rarity.
In today's age.
In today's age, yeah.
No, I agree with you. But as kids, and especially people our age, I think I just miss those times a little bit as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
No, I'll agree with you.
Because we saw all those movies.
Yeah.
And a lot of them we saw together.
Yeah.
A lot.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we saw American Ninja.
Yeah.
But I mean, like...
Yeah. Yes, American Ninja and all. A classic American movie.
That was a double feature at Cinema World.
Yeah, that and
The Last Dragon.
Last Dragon.
I came out fucking kicking after that movie.
You
boy.
did.
I was ready to fucking take on my...
Oh.
Whatever car my mom had. Beat the shit out of it. I liked The Last Dragon, though. When I was that age.
Oh, I still do. I mean, it's cheesy as fuck. I don't care. It's a good movie. You know.
Yeah. It is. It is. But it was cool at the time.
Who's the master hero?
It was a classic.
Oh, I mean, Sho'nuff is one of the greatest villains of all time.
It was a classic 80s movie.
It was. I mean, the Samurai of Harlem, Sho'nuff.
Dancing and shit. It was crazy.
Oh.
It was like, I don't know.
El DeBarge on the soundtrack. I mean.
Yeah, it was nuts. I fucking love that movie. We saw so many movies together.
We did. Oh, yeah.
So many. So many movies. We should have, like, thinking back, we should have wrote down all the movies we saw together as kids.
Yeah. Yeah, but
when my mom was like, we're seeing 2 today, we were like,
yeah.
yeah. The best.
Yeah.
The best. Mom treated us very well.
And then we're going out to eat.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's crazy. I loved it. It was like the best. We had a good childhood.
We did. Absolutely.
We did. And I can remember, we had all these theaters to choose from, but we never, we always went to Cinema World or Showcase East. Usually.
Well,
Mom never went to Century 3 much.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was usually Showcase East.
Southland 9, we used to go there here and there.
Yeah, Southland 9. But those were the 3, because it was like, and it's funny, like, none of those theaters exist anymore.
Yeah.
And the last one to fall was Southland 9. That was the last one to go down. But, like, Showcase Cinema East, that was on 22. That's a Sheets now.
Do you remember those seats? Oh, Showcase East seats were the best.
I don't know. I was always partial to Eastland.
Well, yeah. We did go to Eastland, too.
We did go to Eastland a lot, yeah.
But Showcase East, those seats were like,
yeah.
Kick back, like leather. Remember the big theater?
Yeah.
Like their big dog?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was huge.
It was.
It was massive. But I can remember Eastland with the ashtrays.
And Rainbow. We went to Rainbow a lot, too.
Yeah, we did go to Rainbow a lot, too.
Yeah. Because, like, Cinema World and Rainbow would throw the oddball movies out.
Yeah.
Like, that was where we did see the double feature of American Dragon, or American Ninja and The Last Dragon. Like, Cinema World would do oddball stuff like that.
Yeah.
So would Rainbow. Like, I remember I went to go see Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, like, 1975, like, at Rainbow.
Right.
Like, You wouldn't have got that shit anywhere else.
I think the last movie I saw at Rainbow. The last movie I saw at Rainbow Theater was The Mask with Jet Li.
The last movie I saw in Rainbow Theater was so sad. It was a Pauly Shore movie.
Nice.
Biodome.
Biodome.
Yeah. And me and Jason Noel were the only two people in the fucking theater.
Yeah. But I remember going to see The Mask because that was a word of mouth movie.
Yeah.
And they were like, you got to see this guy.
Yeah.
And that was the introduction to Jet Li to America.
Yeah.
And I was like, you got to see this guy fight. I'm like, all right, yeah.
Yeah.
And I went with my buddy Scott and my friend Jill, pretty sure. And we went to go see The Mask at Rainbow. And I was like, that dude is the man.
Yeah.
He is the man.
Yeah.
Now, Donnie Yen's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But Jet Li in his prime,
yeah. I agree.
man, phenomenal.
I can't argue that.
Yeah. Anyway, but we went to a lot of movies, a lot of good movies, and some bad ones, but
Yeah.
like Dar
Yeah.
and the Muppet Snake.
I think that was like a Cinema World movie, because it was like that was like a direct-to-video movie that somehow they showed. I mean, like, there was such oddball films, like, especially in the 80s, like, because direct-to-video became big because of, the VCR boom.
Yeah.
And, the home rental boom.
Right.
Which was, like, for younger people, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I mean, that was, like, it was huge, like, go out on, like, a Friday night and rent 2 movies.
Yeah, it's such a lost...
Like, and I'm not even talking, like, Blockbuster.
It's such a lost memory because younger people don't even understand what that was like.
No, like, I mean, you would go to, like, a mom and pop place, with the beaded curtain of the back.
Yeah, don't go there.
Not allowed back there, Sean.
Yeah.
But usually it was like, my dad would take me, like, okay, you pick a movie, I pick a movie.
Right.
And that was what, you did.
Yeah.
And that was like the excitement of a Friday night or a Saturday night, like, of like, oh, we're gonna watch a movie, that was so cool.
Yeah.
And it's very much a lost.
And the excitement of when that
experience.
movie was on the shelf.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times that movie wasn't on the shelf.
Exactly. You had to get there at a certain time.
Yeah.
Like, you had to.
You even asked, when is it coming back?
Yeah.
Because some people got 3 days with that movie.
Right. Or like, has it been returned and you haven't put it out yet?
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can remember, like, the biggest place we rented from, got the movie from, was, of course, the Unimart up on Versailles Avenue.
Yeah.
That's where Mom always went there to get her chipped ham and,
Yeah.
bread and Pepsi and
Yeah.
But when they turned it into a movie,
like they had like that one aisle, because my Unimart had it too in Port View.
Yeah.
Like they had that like that one section. It was just like
videotapes.
Yeah. I mean, and it was like, this is the coolest fucking thing ever.
But I'll never forget. I mean, that was her stopping point. I mean,
Yeah.
she went in there all the time, and I can remember going down that video aisle and picking the movie out.
Yeah.
I miss it, And then Blockbuster ruined the mom and pop. Sort of. I feel.
But it was that odd thing of like, they didn't come around here for a long time.
Right.
Like, and even when they did, I mean, there was the one in White Oak.
Yeah.
And that was like
there was one on... I didn't go to it, but I think there was one on 51.
Yeah.
Or Lebanon Church. I can't remember.
And then there was like Hollywood Video. They came in. There was one of those was in Duquesne, West Mifflin, up there where, across from Kennywood.
Yeah.
But like there was never like Pittsburgh Video was like the one my parents always went to. Like it was either Unimart or it was Pittsburgh Video. And Pittsburgh Video hung out for a while before they finally folded.
Yeah. That was just a thing.
Yeah.
My friend Joe worked at the Blockbuster in White Oak.
Like I didn't actually get a Blockbuster card till I was an adult. Like,
I lived at Blockbuster in Mississippi.
Yeah.
But
like here, like I really didn't. Like my rental place up until and they closed I want to say it was 94, 95 when Pittsburgh Video finally closed up.
Uh-huh.
And then it was there was no place else to go but Blockbuster and White.
The one on Long Run Road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was in my early 20s before I finally had to go to a Blockbuster, and even that was like I felt like Randall in the original Clerks, walking in oh,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And
they had oddball movies, such everything.
Yeah.
It was I can't believe you've got this.
Right.
I mean, I'll never forget. I wish I could remember the name of the movie, but it was it took place during World War II, and it was these American GIs behind enemy lines find an alien crash ship.
Wow.
Yeah, and so it's they're trying to stop the Germans. They're trying to get the ship repaired so the alien could leave. And at one point, the one that they've got the one GI and they're holding him, and Hitler shows up and he gets to punch Hitler. That's his greatest accomplishment is he punched fucking Hitler.
Yeah.
It's such an odd movie, but it was it was the 80s.
Yeah. And we had a good time in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like I said, when we were kids, we just watched a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
It was a good time. It's so much different now.
Yeah.
When you look back. And especially with the movies.
Yeah.
For me.
That and HBO.
Yeah, Hobo was good.
I mean, there was a time where, that was the first thing is, and the things that, again, people will never, ever understand is when they sent you the guide.
Oh, the guide.
It was this, 10-page.
Yeah.
But it gave you, every, it showed you, these are, the movies that are on. This is a new movie.
Yeah.
You got a new movie every Saturday night. And it was here's a description of the new movies. And
yeah.
But here's a breakdown of everything we're showing.
Yeah. Timeline.
Yeah.
It was TV Guide, but for HBO.
Yeah, for HBO. It was the best.
Oh, it was. I absolutely loved it. I did.
Yeah.
And you think about Hobo, too. You think about the stuff they put out, HBO series and stuff like that.
And that's what it's become known for more.
Yeah.
It's prestige television, for the most part.
Yeah.
Whereas, before that, it wasn't. It was, you look forward to, those movies.
I don't know. Fraggle Rock was on there.
They had some
like
series.
that.
They had Fraggle Rock. They had that, I can't remember the name of the show, but it was that show about the football team. I think it was, Fourth and Long or something.
Mm.
That was a comedy. That was, the era of not necessarily the news. Which was,
yeah,
groundbreaking at the time.
Yeah.
So they did have stuff like that, but it wasn't what you were looking forward to. You look forward to Fraggle Rock, but that was just because it was Fraggle Rock. But otherwise, you were looking for when Star Wars premiered on HBO.
Oh.
That was it
was a huge thing.
It was an event.
It was. It was a huge event.
It was. I mean, because it was the thing you have to understand is I probably hadn't seen Star Wars.
Right, and that's a thing.
Nowadays, I can watch that any time. It's not that big of a deal. But back then, as a kid, it was I saw Star Wars 2 or 3 times, when it was in theaters,
Yeah.
Because my dad would take me.
Yeah.
And then after that, like, you didn't see it again ever.
Right.
Like, and I mean, I remember like it premiered on NBC, and you were like, that was a big deal, but it was with commercials. But when it premiered on Hobo, like, HBO made a big deal out of it. They made that an event. Like, you know, this is the day you're going to be able to watch Star Wars on HBO for the first time ever.
Right.
You know, you're like, oh shit!
And it was a big deal.
It was. Like, I remember you and me sitting at Grandma Pat's house. It was a Saturday sleepover.
Yeah.
When it premiered, and like popcorn and big old glasses of milk, and we were ready to go.
Yeah, you remember those days?
Oh yeah.
So
So I mean, like,
so good.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it was such a good break from the action.
yeah.
You know. One can only take so much hee-haw in Lawrence Welk.
Oh my.
One can only take so much.
But you know what though? I have learned. I really have a deep appreciation for Roy Clark.
Okay.
He may be one of the greatest guitarists of all time.
I agree. I've watched some clips of Roy Clark.
Like, I've watched some stuff that Roy Clark has done where I'm like, holy shit. Like, I mean, and I just knew him as the hee-haw guy.
Right.
Like, it was like, yeah, Roy Clark, he's the hee-haw guy. So what? But, like, Roy Clark was a master musician.
Mm.
Like, and I appreciate that. And, like, I appreciate, like, some of what they did back then because it was a tribute, or it was a tribute to the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah.
Like, Minnie Pearl would show up and do it, like, you know, you were there to see 3 or 4 acts, and Minnie Pearl would come out and do, like, her routine.
Yeah.
You know, and, like, it was, like, a whole thing. Like, so, like, I've gained a little bit of an appreciation for Hee Haw. As weird as that is to say.
Yeah.
Like, looking back at it as, like, it was more than just, like, what you thought it was as a kid. Like, as a kid, you're like, oh, fuck. Because we were listening to Metallica and Poison and Van Halen. Like, fuck, I don't want to hear this shit. But look, as a 51-year-old looking back at it, I've gained a deeper appreciation for what Hee Haw was.
Right.
Now, Lawrence Welk can eat shit.
Eat shit, Lawrence Welk, you motherfucker. No.
Like, that shit was awful.
And now we're gonna, dance to the waltz. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Get your bubbles and get the fuck out of here.
I got the kids here. They're going to make a little dance while we play the waltz.
That was
horrible.
Oh.
And Grandma Pap would dance with them. And I'm just like, oh, this is fucking... Why? Why do I have to watch this?
Why, SpongeBob?
Oh, yeah.
It was...
Oh.
That was some horrible shit.
And, like, I've tried. Like, I've thought to myself, like, man...
I never tried.
Like, I've honestly thought to myself, like, you know what? You appreciate big band music from the 20s.
I love it.
I can honestly say, like...
It's one of my favorite things on earth is the big bands from the 20s.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
That's amazing music. Like, so, like,
it is.
It's like, maybe I'm overreacting, and, like, maybe, like, looking back at it, as I have with Hee Haw, maybe I can find an appreciation for Lawrence Welk, and it ain't fucking there.
There is nothing about Lawrence Welk that I can honestly say that I liked.
No. I mean...
It was bad.
It was horrible.
Oh.
And that shit went on forever.
Forever. Believe me.
And I mean, like...
My mom didn't even like Lawrence Welk. She didn't. She didn't like Lawrence Welk. Oh, that shit was horrible.
Like, it's just...
Now play some Sam Cooke for my mom.
Yeah.
She's in like Flint. But Lawrence Welk was... I don't like the fact that he took songs and turned them into this nightmare.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just can't.
Like, he like this bubble...
I don't understand. You know, like, what was it? Not Tony Dorsey. Dorsey.
Yeah.
In the ensemble and
yeah.
big band and the jazz.
Yeah.
And you had, like, all these ensembles.
Yeah.
Right? Back in the day. swing and good music.
Yeah.
Great stuff, right? And then here comes Lawrence Welk.
Yeah.
And you're like, and here comes the bubbles. And you're like, this is not good. You know what I mean?
It was like Lawrence Welk, like, and all of that music, and all that amazing music came out of like the 20s and the 30s and the 40s.
Tony Dorsey, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Like all that amazing music that was created at the time, like that big band sound and jazz and the flappers and all that stuff that took place during that time period, like those 20 plus years.
Yeah.
And like Lawrence Welk was like the yacht rock of that shit.
Yes.
Like it was like all of a sudden it's like it's Air Supply.
It was like Wish FM.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was like it's like now here comes Christopher Cross and like you know,
sailing away.
yeah.
No, but I mean like it was just terrible.
Here's a theme to Arthur by Christopher Cross. And, you know,
that was a good.
That was a good song. Yeah. Like you know, here's the
That's
Captain and
all-
Tennille. Like, you know, here you know.
Yeah, it's just terrible.
Yeah.
I just thought Lawrence Welk was just absolutely terrible. I did. I've never liked the man. Seriously, I never liked the show. I never found any kind of interest in the show. It was just awful. And I can't believe Graham and Pap got into that shit.
Like, and it's like so funny. Like, there's like a Lawrence Welk museum.
That's even crazier.
And like I watched like an infomercial for it, which was like where I realized like there is no saving this, and it was like, and I get it, like it was like I think like the one guy that was there was like he was like one of the dancers, he was like one of Lawrence Welk's sons who was a dancer, and I think there may have been a lot of inbreeding that took place there. I'm not quite sure, but
wow,
yeah, but like he was there. And, like, he was an old man, and, like, his son was there, and then, like, the grandson. So there's, like, Lawrence Welk's great-great-grandson.
Yeah.
And they're trying to explain to this, like, 12-year-old kid that, and he, like, you could tell, like, it was, like, this is the worst actor. Wow, my grandfather was Lawrence Welk. And I'm like, oh, stop it.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
It was horrible.
I would have denied it.
Yeah.
I'm not related.
Like, we're going to teach you about your great-great-grandfather now. And, like, I just think, like, this kid's got to be like, okay, so where's Bieber?
But it was so popular.
It was. I don't know how. I don't know why.
I don't either. I am dumbfounded by it. Because it was
Like,
the most boring thing I have ever watched in my entire life.
Because, like, at this point, here's the amazing thing. Like, at this point, the people who were watching Lawrence Welk are either dead or in nursing homes. How is this museum able to stand?
Right.
Like, this thing should be dead. Because there's no way boomers are going. There's no way Gen X is going.
Right.
Like, maybe, like, millennials and Gen Z are going to visit the museum as a lark. But, like, nobody's going to this fucking museum.
No. Speaking of the time you brought videotapes up there,
Yeah.
The Christmas Vacation was the classic, not Christmas, National Lampoon's Vacation was the epitome
Oh.
of the best thing that I ever witnessed in my entire life.
All right, so we were spending the night at our grandparents' house.
And I'm going to preface this.
Okay.
We were subject to Hee Haw
Yeah. Lawrence Welk,
and Welk.
the Golden Girls,
Yeah.
you name it.
Oh. Airwolf.
Airwolf, yes.
That was a good one.
Yeah, yeah.
But yes, we were subject to.
A lot of horse shit.
Yeah, exactly. And,
So-
and again, these were good people. And we had a good time.
And on top of it all, not only were we at our grandparents' house, but our great grandmother, Nanny, is also there, who was an angel of a woman.
And she was always wrapped in a homemade quilt.
Yes, like I mean, she told stories about her grandfather who fought in the Civil War, and a wonderful woman,
And very religious.
Yes, extraordinarily.
Well, our
religious.
family was very religious.
Right, but Nanny was probably the most religious person I have ever met.
Aside from the heathens that we were. But
yes.
Okay.
Now, the other side of this story is my parents, heathens. They would take us to the drive-in, and I mean, if you've been to the drive-in, especially in the '80s, it's always a double feature.
Yeah.
So the first movie was usually somewhat child appropriate. I went to go see, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
At a drive-in, and I'm not quite sure how 12-year-old Sean handled that.
Right.
Moderum. Yeah.
Moderum.
I had a bad feeling my heart was going to be ripped out any second.
Yeah.
For a long time, but so you have my parents who would take us to go to the drive-in to see a movie, and the second movie we were supposed to go to bed. Well, we never did. So I've as a child, I watched Animal House, and Vacation, which I thought was hysterical. And this is the innocence of me because I don't know any better.
Yeah.
And so we're at my grandparents' house, and it was on HBO. It wasn't a videotape. It was on HBO.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, we should watch this. This is a really funny movie. And my grandfather, who, he wasn't, he didn't mind an R-rated movie.
No, he didn't.
My grandmother was she only saw Disney movies.
That is correct.
And Nanny, I still think was amazed that there were moving pictures on the television.
That's funny.
So here we are. We sit down. We're going to watch Vacation on HBO.
Were the other cousins there too, or was it just the guys, the boys?
I think the other cousins were there too.
Oh yeah, I think all seven of us were there, or six of us, whatever.
So we sit down and we're watching,
and we're talking when I say cousins, we're talking age ranges we're the oldest.
Yeah.
At 11, maybe.
Derek was
down to 3 and 2.
Yeah, no, Derek was probably 6.
Okay.
So we get them to turn on Vacation. And you're not even 5 minutes in when Chevy Chase goes, "What the fuck, Russ?" Nanny's clutching her pearls.
Yeah, for real.
For real. There was a clutching of pearls and an exclamation of "Oh my!" And my grandmother's yelling, "Tiny, turn it off! Turn it off right now!"
Yeah.
And she's on the phone to my dad.
Crazy time.
She got we're turning off the TV and she's going straight to the phone. And I can hear. Well, if he didn't hear this language on a regular basis, he probably would know it was foul.
Wow. And I was
we're being sent to bed.
Yeah, we got sent to bed.
We were being Nanny was still I think they had to call EMS to take care of her. She was flabbergasted.
Yeah. I felt more bad for Nanny than I did anybody else.
And I still didn't know, what the fuck did I do wrong?
It's so good.
Oh. Nanny prayed over me.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that. That's fucking great.
When she dried my hair, I think there was a little bit of a prayer.
Yeah.
Because Nanny used to do it. When Nanny was at my grandparents' house, she would dry your hair. And it was the best hair. She just worked that towel in a way. It was amazing. Your hair was so soft. Unlike the ratty ass comb you got.
I can't. That was. That was probably the only form of abuse that I ever got as a child. And I can't even believe they made that cum.
I know.
That should have been outlawed. It was pure spikes.
It was.
I felt like my head was bleeding.
It was like made in the 60s. It was like this device of torture.
It was awful.
It would just catch your hair.
Oh.
Like,
and back then it was bowl cuts, right? So you had thick hair.
Well, I mean, and I had like, I was already kind of like in my mullet stage.
All right.
Like, I had the longer hair because Dad had long hair.
Yeah.
So I didn't get haircuts as often. Plus, I even like in Little League football, I thought it looked cool coming out the back of my helmet.
Yeah, yeah.
So I never like, it wasn't until later on that you were like, when you actually had like veto power over how your hair looked, where you finally grew yours out.
Yeah.
Where I was like already kind of like,
Well, I grew up with the Colonel.
Yeah. Yeah. You had the Colonel.
Yeah, I couldn't,
You came back every summer high and tight.
Yeah. Until I changed that.
Yeah. Until you finally got veto power over how you look.
Yeah, and then I grew that hair so long forever just because of that.
Yeah.
I had hair down to my waist because of my fucking dad doing the high and tight.
Yeah.
Oh, give me the military too, please. That's how it is. I mean, like you go into the barber on base and they're like, 1 or 2.
Yeah.
6? No.
Nah, you're getting a 2.
Nah, you're getting a 2.
Yeah. Well, you came back looking like Johnny Unitas.
Yeah. It was awful. But it was awful. But but that cum, once that cum, it's, I don't know. I swear, and maybe you got it less than I did.
No, I got it worse because she went the whole way down my hair. Like, so I had like it down to my shoulders, and she's like, when are you gonna stop looking like a girl, Shawnee? And that thing was just like yanking my head back.
I felt like she was taking out all of her aggressions on my head.
Yeah.
Every time that comb came out, I looked at that comb like it was Michael Myers. Every fucking time I looked at it, it was horrible.
Horrible.
The teeth on that comb, I just cannot describe the pain that was coming from us.
I mean, and that comb existed until they died.
I think I stole it.
Yeah, I think you buried it in your yard. Had a ceremony to put the demon to rest.
It was a demon. I'll never forget that comb.
The thing is surrounded by salt.
And it wasn't even a comb. Like, when I tell people, like, it wasn't a straight comb. Like, what people would think, you would use, like it had like the greasers. Like, you had like 3 rows of like prongs. Yeah. And it was red.
Yeah.
Oh, it was horrible.
Yeah.
And it had like the hair of our enemies in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it was like a sword. It was horrible.
It was.
It was the worst experience as a child. I didn't even want to take a shower because of that comb.
Like, I remember asking when you got another comb?
I wouldn't dare.
Yeah. I mean, like, I reached a point of like ballsiness at one. Like, I was like, you got another comb? Because that thing yanks. And she blamed it on my hair.
We're laying in bed like it's, holding our heads.
Yeah.
Holding your head because it was so fucking...
Yeah.
You had fucking bruises on your head after that comb out.
I think it was the worst.
It was.
Horrible.
Finally, I was like, I'll comb my own hair.
Yeah.
That's what I think I said that. I was like,
I got it.
I got it. You don't have to comb my hair out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just stay away from me.
Yeah.
And then your comb.
Well, the problem she had with my hair is like it's naturally curly in the back. So it feathered out in a lot of ways.
Right.
And she was trying to get it to like come down straight like a girl's. And she didn't appreciate the curl. I'm like, it doesn't do that, Grandma. It's not supposed to do that. Let it go.
Did you ever ask your dad or Chuck, or John, or...
No.
About the comb?
No, I never asked about the comb.
You should ask Chuck about the comb.
Yeah, maybe next time I see him I will, but...
No, I'm serious.
I know. I mean, it's not something like...
It was brutal.
It was. Like, I'm willing to bet, like I said, I mean, that thing was from the 60s. I think by the time it got to our head was like 20 years old.
Yeah.
And there's not a doubt in my mind that maybe at one point, like, it did have, like, the little balls at the top of it, but they had just fallen off over time. And it was like all that was left was like these prongs, these metal prongs. And she just thought it was just fine enough as a comb.
And it was horrible.
Yeah.
I can remember sitting in church, just my head hurting.
Yeah.
Hurting from that bit.
Yeah.
Oh, it was horrible.
All right, well. We're going to wrap up here. But before we do, last week we did get an email from our good friend, the Otter.
Cool.
Superfan Tim. He said, "Hey, Pittsburgh nerds.
Hey.
I got issue with the exploding toilet. As the P&P resident expert in ballistics and plumbing, I feel I need to chime in. My hypothesis, this is a very heavy gentleman. Hey. The facts. 1, dude is rolling in the dump in the middle of the day. That isn't Raisin Bran kicking in. That's some rando dump associated with spotty diets. Wow. I'm feeling called out right about now. Ah. 2nd, the suit is only for $500 or for $50K. This feels like a lawyer telling the plaintiff that he doesn't want to be in front of a jury. Let's get what we can and keep it moving. If they see you, they will think you broke it under your own weight." Wow. 3rd, or turd, if you will, toilets don't explode. I feel it was under some vernacular used in the press to get some clickbait going. I mean, I agree with you. Like, I don't think it exploded, but like, I think it was definitely an issue that caused a rupture, shall we say.
Good.
The way they blow suddenly, if you pipe them wrong and have hot water sent to the tank instead of cold water, but that takes time, and it's pretty obvious when a plumber screws that up, because when you go take a dump in the morning, you get a nice warm mist on your cheeks. Makes sense.
Wow. That is way descriptive.
Here's what happened. The toilet was cracked. The employees say they knew something was wrong with the toilet. Well, the only way to know if something is wrong is if the toilet doesn't flush. When you flush, it backs up. And if it leaks, odds are it was leaking. That's caused by a crack in it, or more frequently, a bad seal with the floor drain. They assumed it was a bad seal and just mopped it. Big boy bounced down on a compromised throne, and Bob is your uncle. Based on the mess, I bet it was pretty bad, cracked, and he had enough time to shit out, and when it broke under his weight. Keep up the great work, and if you want more musings and pseudoscience from Otter, check me out almost weekly on the Besotted Geek podcast.
Nice.
There you go. So, yes, there's Otter giving us some plumbing science in regards to the exploding toilet, and we appreciate that.
Okay.
We did get an email from Thad, but again, pretty much unusable.
Yeah.
So remember, there are a number of different ways you can reach out and touch us.
Hey.
Like I said, it's an email, like Tim did, that was useful. And the email address is pittsburghnerd@yahoo.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search Pittsburgh Nerd. We're very, very easy to find. And we are on a number of podcasting networks. You can find us on the Tangent Bound Network, the Weeby Geeks Network, and the Pod Breed Network. Just give them a Google search and find all the other great podcasts they have to offer. And lastly, as always, want to thank you, dear listener, for taking the time to check us out each and every week. We can't thank you enough for your patronage and or support.
Truth.
And on that note, the dreamer has awakened.
Peace.